7:05. I'm going to call the meeting to order.
Flag is back there.
We're going to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see, Stephen. Anybody know if he's, well, if he shows up, somebody tell me, okay? Yeah, make sure to check for him, okay? Approval of the agenda. Before I ask for a motion to approve the agenda,
Sorry, we switched
Phil is sick, so we're not going to have a Wallingford presentation tonight. I don't know how many of you knew that, but so we're going to take that off the agenda. After the approval of the minutes, Stan is going to talk to us. It's just a rehash of the bus lease agreement that was approved, but we need to approve something a little bit more specific. He'll talk to us about that after the minutes. And I think that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
well, the
and
transportation.
And transportation proposal, we're going to talk about an RFP for that. So instead of talking about that specific company, we're going to talk about an
I thought
RFP.
Carol said bus police. I looked at him, I said, Stan, you have bus police? He goes, no, bus lease. I'm like, oh, getting old here.
Okay. All right. So would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda with changes? Is there a second?
Whichever one you need.
So Rich and Ned, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, any opposed? Okay. Whew, okay, public input. So, do we have any public input? Go, please, Mr. Flanders.
Hi, my name's Norm Flanders. I have three things I want to hit up on. Number one, at the elementary school in Clarendon, you have one do not enter sign at the exit going up on 7B. You need to repair that, put a stop sign there to keep people from coming in and out. Also put the signs back one way from the old superintendent's office so that people aren't interacting and trying to block the bus. Okay? Number two, the parking lot. The edge of the roadway and all that stuff.
Which school?
Elementary school.
Still Clarendon?
Clarendon, yeah.
They had gone along and put red lines and they were gonna fill in along that to where it don't drop off. That hasn't been done. And
Along the
there's
curb, you mean?
Yep. And, in the back parking lot where they paved, they left a pile of dirt, they haven't spread it around. I mean, I appreciate everything that was done, it's finally approved. If you're a new resident coming to town and you drive into that parking lot, it's a lot better than it was. Because the first impression is when you drove into that, if you take care of this like this, how do you take care of my kids? Mm-hmm. That was always brought forward. Now, the other one, I had talked with the superintendent, and I had talked to superintendents before about doing a Veterans Day lunch. Okay? It never went anywhere. Karen Castle in Wallingford at the school here put on an awesome thing for the children and brought veterans in. West Rutland School does it. I'm a veteran. Dave's a veteran. Lenny's a veteran. I don't know who else is a veteran. I would like to see that happen every year. Okay? Kids don't understand the importance of what the veterans did for this country. Mm-hmm. They don't get taught it enough today in school. My grandkids know because I've sat down and talked to them. And I've shown them a lot of stuff. But I would like us as a district to take a step forward to every one of the schools in the district and put aside one day to where you can have lunch to open it up to have veterans come in to where they can come in and visit with their grandkids, their children, or whatever, and let people talk to them, ask them what it's like. In West Rutland, the kids color thank you cards, and they give them to all the veterans. And then you go have a nice lunch, and then afterwards you get to go home. That's why I'm here, is because I've gone through 3 superintendents, I talked to the elementary school principal, and it has gone nowhere. So now this is the next step, as a veteran, that I want to see it happen. And when you establish the day, you have all the schools, don't put it all on the same day, because if I have a kid in Shrewsbury, a grandkid in Shrewsbury, and I have a grandkid in Clarendon, I can't be at both places. Okay? Make it so that it's very open to where, okay, you do it over a 4-day period, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Okay? And I want to thank you for everything that you do. Veterans, thank you for what you did. And,
Thank you, sir.
Hopefully
Thank
we
you.
get to go forward from here. And anybody have any questions?
I just had a comment. My 2 older kids of 3 got to participate in that event here at Wallingford, and they're still talking about it today, so.
If you haven't
They
seen the
loved it.
pictures, have Phil send
Yeah.
it to you, because they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
They loved it.
was-
My daughter had a great time.
Yeah, there was a message sent to me because somebody knew that I had gone to the school board, or the superintendent, and gone to the superintendents in the past. And I stayed away from coming to the school board, and I saw Lenny, and I said, I'm coming to talk. Because I think this is the next step that the
So you're gonna
school-
blame it on me?
No, I'm not blaming it on you, bud.
We'll deal with you later.
But
Well, and Clarendon had a tremendous, at the rec center.
At the rec
At the
center, yes, we did.
field. I mean, it was tremendous.
Yeah,
Tremendous.
yeah, that was an outstanding thing that they did.
And I wonder, they used to have a celebration at the elementary school, and I wonder if in place of that, because we did the Clarendon.
I don't remember.
Can I just interject while you're standing? What I'm hearing from him, though, is it's not just celebration, but an educational component
Educational.
to it.
Right.
And I think that would be, well, that's what we do.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about. So having that component, I think, would be,
right.
Well, and I know other school districts have a day, and they have an assembly where they, it's a big thing, and they have folks come in and speak, and the band plays, and they do taps and all of that, like they did at Clarendon. And it's not because I'm a veteran that I'm saying this. I just think it's important that we recognize those who have served. That's all.
Important for kids to know why they have the day off from school, not just a day off.
And one other thing, in 2020, the first grade class participated in a care package program for the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. They put together 23 care packages. A gentleman in the town of Clarendon came forth and he paid for all the shipment. The Eisenhower sent back certificates and a whole bunch of stuff to the kids. They even came here and presented them a flag that was flown on the Dwight D. Eisenhower.
It's cool.
And those kids remember that because 2 of them were my grandkids, because I've always sent a care package to the Ike. I'm a plank owner. I'm a proud Navy veteran and Air Force veteran. And my grandson said, how can we help? I said, I don't know. I said, how about you ask your teacher? And she came to me, she said, what can we do? So, again, hopefully we move forward and we can get this accomplished, and thank you for what you do, and thank you for listening.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Norm.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other public comment? So I had contacted, David had mentioned at the last meeting that he'd gotten a letter, and Sarah forwarded to me from Erin Seward.
Yep.
And so I contacted Erin, and she asked that I read the letter into public comment. So, but my voice is kind of froggy, so,
me read it.
and it's very long, and Ned has volunteered to read it for me.
Can I borrow yours? I don't have it up anymore. Dear board members and administration, I am writing to you today as a concerned parent regarding the quality and nutritional standards of the breakfast and lunch meals currently being served to our students at Wallingford Elementary School and throughout the district. While I appreciate the immense effort it takes to provide meals to all students, I have significant concerns that the current offerings are falling short of what our young learners need to thrive. I worked in Wallingford Elementary School's kitchen for the past 3 years and have firsthand knowledge as to what it takes to provide quality meals to our students. I also know that the budget is a limiting factor in school food programs. I would encourage the school to consider investing more money into the school lunch program. Improving the school food program starts with increasing financial investment, resulting in healthier kids and improved learning outcomes. The consistent feedback I have received from my children, other parents, students, and observed firsthand suggests that the meals are often highly processed, low in fresh ingredients, and lack the essential nutritional components required for sustained energy and concentration. Specifically, there are ongoing issues with breakfast. Meals frequently rely on sugary cereals, pastries, or highly processed items, which can lead to energy crashes early in the school day, negatively impacting learning. Lunch. The main entrees often feature excessive breading, high sodium content, and an over-reliance on prepackaged, reheated foods rather than freshly prepared whole foods. This leads to low student appeal and significant food waste. When fresh fruits and vegetables are offered, they are frequently lackluster, unappealing, or served in insufficient portions. A child's nutrition directly impacts their cognitive function, behavior, and overall health. Providing meals that are low in nutritional value, regardless of compliance with basic federal standards, compromises our students' ability to concentrate and succeed in the classroom. Furthermore, the high rate of food waste suggests that the allocated resources are not being used efficiently on appealing and healthy items. I respectfully request that the administration and food service team undertake a comprehensive review of the current menu, sourcing practices, and preparation methods. I would appreciate the opportunity to discuss this matter further and explore constructive solutions, such as incorporating more whole grains, lean proteins, and fresh seasonal produce into the daily menus. Increasing the budget for the school lunch program will allow for the higher quality food and nutrition for our students, thus having a direct impact on a child's learning and overall well-being. Thank you for your time and serious consideration of this vital matter. I look forward to your response and to working together to ensure all our students receive the nourishing meals they deserved. Sincerely, Aaron Seward.
Okay. Good job.
It's longer than I remember.
Does the board have any comments? I mean, Sarah, just want you to talk just a little bit about, a couple of minutes about what we just did.
So during community conversations, food service was front and center in that discussion, and we had two representatives from food service. One was the Mill River food service manager. What's her name again?
Teresa.
No,
Teresa was
the Elior lady.
Yeah,
Elior. Oh, and then
Jessica.
Jessica, thank you. I have so bad. Okay. Jessica, who works for Mill River, and there's a food service
Shrewsbury,
manager.
I thought.
Or Shrewsbury. She works in our district, though.
Yeah.
She works for the school. In
She's at Tinmouth.
Oh, 10 minutes. Okay, it started.
One of those damn schools.
She works at one of the schools that has their own food service. Right. So, and then there was Teresa, who was a representative from Elior, who is our food service third-party contractor. And she explained her own limitations, basically within the corporate structure and also state and school regulations. It's too complicated to go into at this point. But there's a basic conundrum there, and we had really great feedback from both parents and faculty here. And you?
No, I'm just want to say something when you're done.
Okay, so, more discussion is definitely called for on this topic. It's a big topic. It's kind of like right up there with transportation. A lot of moving parts. So that's what we did. We could just turn our buses into food trucks.
So what I wanted to say was, we got the letter from Aaron. We also got another letter from another parent that essentially said the same thing. We heard about it at the budget meeting extensively.
And the one little disconnect that I had tonight was Teresa was saying, well, last year we did, chicken tenders, french fries, yada, 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 but this year we're not doing that. Yet these letters really are saying the opposite, that they're seeing too much processed food. So there's I don't know, there's like a factual disconnect going on there.
The problem is it hasn't actually been tracked in any way, and people remember things differently.
I mean, she did mention that they do have chicken nuggets like once a month or something.
Right, but I mean, chicken nuggets are not the only form of processed
No,
food.
I understand that, but I'm just saying that.
And a sweet roll with or without frosting is still a sweet roll.
I think that the fundamental thing that we're coming up against, and this is the real issue, is that they're operating on a for-profit motive. So their whole incentive is to be as inexpensive as they possibly can. And we're not looking at it for a profit motive. We're looking at it that we want to maximize the product that we're able to put out for the kids. And it may be that those two goals are fundamentally not compatible.
And it puts the cooks in a very difficult position.
Impossible.
So, but we have been getting really good feedback from the parents, and I think it was a discussion that could have gone on for hours,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah.
We'll keep on keeping on that. Okay.
Still in public.
Any other public comment?
There's just some people online that might.
Anybody online? Any other board discussion of the public comments? All right. Stan? Well, wait a second, we have to approve our minutes.
This is a familiar topic.
Sorry, guys, I'm just a little...
So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from November 5th.
I'll second that.
Okay, I had one change, and it was under, I remember it, I don't have the minutes, you have them in front of you. Under, go down to Building and Grounds. It's just a typo, up, down, this way. Rebecca, it says, in the second line of that, there was discussion of product funding, and I think that should just be project funding. Yeah.
Yep.
And just change that to project funding. And then Stan is going to talk to us about the item in there regarding the bus leasing. I'll say that.
Need to vote on this first.
But we're going to approve these minutes, then you can talk.
Do I need to modify my motion then? Just vote to approve the minutes with the correction
Yeah.
in the second sentence of Building and Grounds report, changing
Yeah, I mean, I
products
think,
to projects.
yeah, so, yeah, approval or just with changes, yeah.
I would second that.
Okay. All in favor? Oh, I didn't call for discussion, I discussed. Nobody else had changes. Jeez, Carol.
Abstain.
Okay, Rich abstain. All right, now, Stan, can you talk to us about the, yeah, I'm ready now.
Are you?
Getting your exercise in.
Yeah, sorry.
As you know, at the last meeting, you accepted the bid from M&T Bank regarding the bus lease. They're looking for certain language that, wasn't said at the meeting or in the minutes. The main difference from what we had recorded in the minutes is they wanted their wholly owned subsidiary mentioned as part of the lease agreement, which was 233 Genesee Street Corporation. They wanted to see that, and also the fact that at the conclusion of the lease, we would own the equipment for $1. So in order to make things a little cleaner and a little easier to understand, I asked them, well, do you have a template that you'd accept? They sent me this template. I put it together somewhat, and what I'm going to be asking the board is to to make a motion to adopt the resolution as written. I did send out an email late this afternoon If you'd like to review the paper, an actual paper copy, I can hand that out now.
Okay, someone want to make a motion?
I'll
Nick?
make the motion
Okay, to
to
approve.
approve the resolution provided by Stan.
Okay, is there a second?
Sure.
And anybody have any discussion? Just us.
I read it, and Stan's summary is spot on.
Okay. All right, thank you. All in favor? All right, unanimous. Okay, and so you want me to sign that? Or, let's see,
Yeah.
following resignation was offered by board member Ned.
Sarah, do you want to see it?
I think that was, yes, that was.
Seconded by,
Doesn't look controversial to me.
to sign it, Ms. Clerk.
They're expensive.
Okay,
Should have picked up truck.
all right, so we're gonna, speaking of buses, we're gonna transition to the transportation proposals, and Cheryl, you wanna address that for us?
Yes, at the last meeting, I had shared with you that I had been in contact with First Student to just try to solve our transportation problem. And then, upon further reflection, realized that it would, and you asked me to have them here today, and they were set to come, and then I realized that that would not be appropriate, because if we are going to move forward, we would have to request for proposals, right? Because we're talking about a significant sum of money. So what I would like to ask you today is if you wish for me to move forward and get a request for proposals, and then I would have Tim put one out, and then we would look at the proposals. It does not commit us to taking any of the proposals, but it does have people put their information out and share what they would be offering to us.
So, just so I understand, that would potentially be other vendors offering transportation services, and we basically have to do that if we want to sign a
Correct.
contract because of the volume of dollars involved?
Correct.
Are there four people, four
We
vendors?
would need to have three. If we don't have three, as long as we put it out there and we request it, and we, I do think we would have two, that I'm pretty certain of at this point.
Just because I feel like there aren't a whole
No,
ton of
there's
people who
not.
do it in this
But
area.
is the requirement satisfied if we make the appropriate effort? Like,
Yes.
put out the appropriate query and then we get what we get?
We get what we get, right? And then it gives us the opportunity to discuss it, to determine if we do want to move forward with having someone else do our transportation instead of internal. But I do want to make sure that people understand, because according to the article in the paper, which I did not read, but I did hear from a lot of people that people were concerned that we were starting immediately and that they would be out of jobs. I'm like, no. We're not anywhere near that point. So I just want to be real clear on that.
What would happen to the buses and all the, everything that we have now?
That's up to us. I do know that they would like to sell, they would
Like to purchase.
like to purchase them
But that would be after 1 year.
after, well,
Or that's the
That's that one,
preliminary proposal we've received.
the one
yes.
proposal.
One
yeah.
proposal.
But I do want to say that I do think that's pretty standard. I think, my recommendation would be that we think about that carefully, because once
Once
we
we've
do
crossed that
sell our
bridge, yeah.
buses,
You have no choices.
we are limited in our choices at that point, right? Because we're not going to be able to go back and sell or buy 7 more buses.
Oh, we burned our bridges at that point.
So I have a question about if we put out for bids. I mean, it would be interesting to hear what other companies say and what they offer. Is that a burden for you and Stan to have to? What I'm trying to say is that there is no commitment at this point
No.
for us to move away from our own in-house
No.
transportation.
No.
So I don't want to waste people's time, is how I'm feeling about that, but it would be interesting.
Our state organization for business officials does have RFPs that other districts have sent out and used, so we can use that as a kind of a boilerplate.
Right.
That's how we want to set up, and obviously at the same time, and then adjust things that would fit what we're looking for.
So it's not burdensome.
Not burdensome, you don't have to start from scratch.
And I do feel that the situation we're in with transportation, we just need to start thinking in other avenues and
Yeah, I mean, I want the
exploring.
information.
Right, because
David
it's
has a
not
question.
working right now for us.
I was just gonna ask, have we, as a district, reached out to other school districts that have, third-party contractors, like First Student?
Yes.
That operate this and looked at like their rate of cancellation and their like truancy and how many bus routes they, I guess
Yes.
I just, will we be, as a board, privy to that information? Like, I guess I'd like to
Yeah.
know if there are 3 or 4 different contractors that operate bus transportation for comparable districts, what is their absenteeism, what is their cancellation rates? Just
So-
to make sure that we're pursuing a solution.
Agreed,
You know,
agreed, and
getting
not
the
just
problem.
transferring the problem.
Right.
I did informally reach out to local superintendents and asked for their feedback on it. I don't think it's fair to share things right now.
But you did receive
'cause-
some feedback. They did respond.
Yes, they did give me feedback.
Because then it would be useful to inform.
Yes, it would
how
be
we move
informative
forward.
for us.
Imperative, actually.
I think when we have proposals and we're discussing, that would be an appropriate time to bring in that information.
But I think specifically, you are asking us to say to you, we would like you to do this.
Correct.
Right.
Do we need a motion for that?
Unless we're consensus. Anybody opposed to that? I don't think we need a
I
motion.
mean, I think if there's no commitment,
No.
there's no harm in that.
Right.
As long as it's not, like I say, a hassle for you guys.
Well, it's work, but I think that's what we're here for, right? To figure out the best way to transport our students timely and efficient and fiscally responsible. Yes, Dave, sorry. I'm
I
looking
was
at you.
wondering, how do other school districts handle this statewide, or at least in Rutland County? Would we be in a sort of a minority kind of situation to adopt something like this, or do a lot of school districts do it?
There are various methods. I know Fairhaven, Slate Valley,
Use this one.
they do first student.
Okay.
And
Or student first. Because
No, I know,
they're
I know.
two different,
Yeah.
No,
two different
really?
companies,
You're
yes.
absolutely right.
Oh, that's
But my
not helpful.
And that's why I'm not sure,
There are other districts that do it through
because
a
I think
third
they're
party.
student first. Yeah.
Okay.
There are locals, other districts that
So
do
both
use
things
them.
are done.
Both happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And they are two companies, Student First and First Student.
You're right.
I just realized that. That's why I wasn't correcting you. It was more like, is it the other company?
There is a difference.
Yes.
I'm just curious if there is a, time, if there's a deadline for us with this, with our budget, or if it's okay, like building the budget for next year is, we're coming up on not too much time. If there is a big discrepancy, what does that time frame look like for us to make decisions around this?
I would say sooner the better, right? If there is.
If you're asking if it's going to be done to have something in the budget one way or the other, the answer would be no, because, you would be voting on the budget in early January.
Right. Right,
To put before the voters, so that would not work time-wise.
right.
So does that mean the soonest we could possibly do the switch, if that's the direction we wanted to go, would be the 27?
7:20, yeah.
Is that, am I interpreting that
Or
correctly?
could we
I
make
would
an
think it
adjustment?
depends on what the estimate is.
Yeah.
If it's the same, close to what we're going to put in the budget, which is going to, then I...
Stephen's online.
Oh,
so you know.
hi, Stephen. Then I think we could make a decision later, but as long as it didn't bust the budget. If not, then it's a whole other...
That'd be one of the things you would look at, I guess, when we get the proposals in, is how that would affect the budget. negligible, and obviously
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because last time we talked, you said it was actually,
We can't
Not
talk
a-
about specific numbers, though.
okay.
Only because if we're going to go out, I don't want to give an
Okay.
unfair advantage
Okay.
to anyone.
So, never-
But I did not see it that it would be, my initial understanding was it was not that,
Hugely impactful.
Yes.
Yeah, my only comment about that is that we really lacked the detail,
Yep.
without getting into the numbers.
Well, it was very
We lacked the detail to really do a, not that you're ever going to figure it out down to the last penny, but to maybe drill down on it a bit more. But that's what the proposals will show.
yes, correct.
All right. And now Cheryl is going to do a superintendent's report, which we're going to try and do every other week. We're going to have Cheryl do a superintendent's report, and then the opposite week will be our student rep report. So we'll kind of have a schedule around that.
I was hoping, I sent the PowerPoint out to you. I was hoping to project it. That's not going to happen. I cannot figure out which way to, where to cast it to. So if you do just want to follow along, I am trying to send it out to you ahead of time so that you have time to look at it prior. Did decide to look at attendance because that is one of the board's goals. A few things. We measure attendance in two different ways. One is that we look at our average daily attendance, essentially on any given day, what percentage of our students do we have sitting in class. And then there's also the chronic absenteeism, which is much different than truancy. So chronic absenteeism, it looks at students who have missed more than 10% of the school year or school days. So it will change throughout the year because we're not at the 180 yet, or the 179, I think we are. And so that is considered chronic absenteeism, the 18 days for any reason, right? Whether it is suspension or it is transportation, right? It could be a variety of reasons. So there is a lot of information out there, and the gold standard would say that if we want to see that we have a 95% average daily attendance rate, that is what it's what we strive for. We're currently at district, we're at a 93.1 average daily attendance. So we are a tad below it. But if you go to the next slide, and you can see, I went as far back as, so when it shows you 21 and to 2026, that's the school year 2020, so COVID, to 2020 to current 2026, which we obviously haven't hit. So you can see, and we followed what's happened in Vermont and what's happened nationwide, is that after COVID, we see average daily attendance really take a dip, and we're starting to see it increase, right? So this is accurate as of last week. I want to say last Wednesday or Thursday. We go to the next one. I also broke it down because I want to give you data to look at without being overwhelming. Look at our elementary data. And you can see that they are at 94.3, so they actually are higher. And that is typical too. The elementary attendance is a little bit higher than secondary. So when we get to slide 6, we see that secondary is a little bit lower at 91.9, which is still good, right? But we have room for improvement. And please stop me at any time, because I know you've looked at this. So when we look at chronic absenteeism, the gold standard would be to have less than 10% of our students be considered chronically absent. This is another thing, we've seen a big difference since COVID hit, where we've had more students that are chronically absent. At this moment in time, When we look at our district as a whole, we have 15.9% of our students that are chronically absent, which means that they've missed more than 10% of the school year up to now.
I just want
Yeah,
to
go
make sure I
ahead.
understand that. So 18 days would be 10% of the whole school year?
Correct.
But if you're considered chronically absent, does it mean you've missed more than 10% of the school days so far?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So they could fix that later in the year, theoretically.
Theoretically.
I'm doing the math. Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Right, so,
quick.
but if we've had, 70 days, if you miss 7 days or more, you are chronically absent.
Absolutely.
But then if you miss none for the rest of the year.
You're good.
Okay.
And you can see last year, we were at 29.8, which, is high. When we look at Vermont, the latest I could get the data, and, I looked at our 2023, 2024, because that's the latest that we can get both nationally and statewide. So we were at 29.8, Vermont was at 24%, and nationally it was at 20%. So we're a little bit higher than they are.
So is this combining elementary and,
Yeah, the whole district.
do you feel like there's a big difference between the two, like there was with,
Going back, I don't really know.
About this year?
It's hard to say. I wouldn't want to speculate, but I would think probably.
that's a pretty big number.
Yeah, it is a big number.
Sorry.
And then I thought it was important to point out the difference between truancy versus a chronic absence. So a student, because we use those words intermittently, and interchangeably, and they're really not. So truancy, I think of it as skipping school, right? You skip school one day, you're truant that day. Whereas chronic absenteeism, we're looking at a bigger picture of why are students absent? Is it, and really considering the impact that this has on achievement, right? So attendance is a good place to start, because if students aren't with us, they're not learning, right? We could have the best teachers with the best lessons, and if they're just not there, they're not learning. So when we look at chronic absenteeism, again, as a district, we are at 15.9 as of today, as of last week. You look at after COVID in the year 21-22, and look at how high, that number is significant. That's something that we saw nationwide. Kids were not coming to school. And we're still seeing the effects of that. We look at our elementary students, and chronically absent, as of this point, we're at 12.9%. It's too bad Josh isn't here. I wanted to give a shout out to Tinmouth. As of this point, their chronic absenteeism is so low that, I reached out to Jen. I said, what are you doing? Something's right here.
Well, that's something that jumps out at me, which is we are at, let's call it 30% for the previous school year, and now we're at half of that.
Yes.
But we're only halfway through the year. That could change.
Well, no, but the rate is greatly improved over the previous year. That's kind of a startling improvement. That's a 50%
It is 2 years
improvement.
ago, I just want to make sure we.
In
but yeah.
320 Oh, you're right, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, I just
Correct.
want
But still,
to, yeah.
So did you do something different?
Well, that's what.
take the credit, Cheryl.
Yeah, I've been here 5 months, and yes, it's all me.
But wouldn't, I have no data for this, but I would suspect that we have the number of days absence are going to increase when we get into bad weather. Flu season is just kicking in now.
Agreed.
Way to be an upper.
So maybe more absences, do more absences tend to happen in the second half of the school year?
I am not sure on that.
That'd be interesting, like I think that's.
But I do
Would
want to
those
say
be
that I know that
considered-
they've taken some, I will talk about that later, some actions that they've taken.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But that wouldn't necessarily be chronic absences.
Yeah.
If someone's out for the flu.
But it could impact the numbers.
Yeah, it could
Well-
affect
little
the
bit.
numbers.
But, I was just going to say, yeah, those are counted, though. Thanks for these definitions.
Well, I think Rich's point is that don't count your chickens till they've hatched.
Right.
Basically,
Right.
on
And I
that,
agree with that.
relatively improved number.
So right now, our numbers look good. And you can see, like, even though, like, last year, 21.8% chronic absenteeism for elementary is incredibly high, we see we're going in the right direction, right? And so that's a positive trend line.
But the trend line really only matters if we understand why it's going down. isn't it?
Agreed. And so I'll get to some of that, and we're just starting. Right now, we're admiring the problem, I like to call it. Right? And so when we look at our secondary, again, it's a little bit higher than elementary. It is interesting to note, it just stood out to me, that secondary students were less chronic absent, I don't even know if that makes sense, in 2022 at 42% than our elementary, which is 56%. That surprised me because I would have expected it the other way. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know, I was thinking about that with like was that when we still had a lot of remote learning in our district? Our district stayed remote for a longer time.
Yes.
And so I think actually some parents with elementary school students just kept them home more.
Right. And that,
Or wait, it was remote. Didn't attend, I don't know how that worked. But I was just wondering if that factored in.
and I wondered that too, because obviously I wasn't here, but I would imagine in most districts, we were fairly lenient with attendance. So if you showed up, for any portion of it, you were considered present. So I don't know, is the answer. We go to the last page, I look at the data and I'm like, okay, what's going on? How do we improve upon this? And so it just happened that there was a conference in Killington called Everyday Matters or something along that lines, and I invited a secondary administrator because that tends to be where the more absenteeism is. Sean and I went. It was interesting. They talked about different districts and what they've done to improve their absentee rate. And then I did reach out to both Jen and Summer to find out because, Jen in particular, because Tinmouth's chronic absenteeism at this point is so low that I can't even tell you how low it is, right? Because it would be giving you data on a small number of students. But I talked to her and I said, so what are you guys doing? And she did say they put a focus on students coming to school, and there's very clear expectations with students, and that there's relationships with the students and the teachers, and she believes that is what's having an impact. And that is one of the strategies that we hear, is that the relationships, just one adult to say, hey, where were you yesterday? Missed you. Right? And figuring out why a child is absent. An elementary child who's absent, it's not because they're choosing not to go, right? There's a parental component in there that we have to reach out. And that was another one, right? In larger districts, they had someone whose job was to reach out to parents and say, what's going on? What do you need? How can I help you?
Tinmouth is a very unique community.
Yeah.
It's very tight.
Yes.
It's small. And, it isn't only relationships to the teachers, but it's relationships between the children, too.
Yes.
And, they have one teacher teaching more than one grade. And so there's mentoring going on there. I mean, it's a unique environment that community-wise and school-wise that you don't see in the other schools.
Of course, their numbers are low, and if 2 children become chronically absent,
It's true.
gonna kill it.
Exactly.
I do have a question about, a couple questions, mostly about the secondary schools. So, because they go to different, like the elementary kids are in one class for the day, whereas the secondary students move from class to class. So first of all, is their attendance to each class tracked?
Yes.
Okay, how is that done? Is there attendance taken at each class?
Yes. And I meant to look that up because I wanted to make sure that it was accurate here, the way we did it. But I believe, and Jody, you can jump in if you know, and I'm sure you do, so why don't you? It's, if they're absent more than half the day, is that how it's marked?
Yes.
So each teacher reports on who was in their class?
We have to do that to make sure that everyone's where they're supposed to be all the time.
Okay.
And so A block is where attendance for the day is taken.
Okay. Is that the first class
That's
of
the
the day?
first class of the day. But if a student does come late and is there for at least half the day, it is counted as a day of attendance.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you for clarifying that.
Also, so what's next? I did happen to go to Clarendon, and I spoke to Summer, and I asked her, and they, this past year, made it, not this school year, the last school year, it was their goal to improve attendance. So they were using their PLC time to come up with strategies. And then she even pointed out to me that
PLC.
professional learning communities, sorry about that. I try not to use the acronyms because I know that. But she even says right now, her 5th and 6th grade, they have a competition. So every day they take the attendance there, and there's a friendly competition, and over X amount of time, whoever has the higher attendance wins something.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So they are doing things. I do think what we need to do is sit down as administrators, and that is something, review, like, I don't know what every school principal does at this point for attendance, right? I have a general idea, but I want to know, discuss, and then let's share good strategies.
I know the early release days, they're K-12, are a burden for families in our district, especially those who have young kids that need supervision. I know there is bridge care, which runs till 3, but even then, most people are still working at 3 o'clock. I would be curious to know if there's any correlation between the attendance on those particular early release days and, kids coming to school.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of parents might feel like, well, it's a half day anyway, so
So never
my
mind.
kid's home, or I have no
Or
way to
take
get
them to
them
work
after
with me or
school,
something.
so I can't, I'm just gonna keep them home, or bring them to school, or drop our neighbors, or my aunts, or cousins. Like, I do think that the adoption of a policy where K-12, you're sending kids home without after-school care, and you're stopping teaching halfway through the day, twice a month.
Or once a month.
Oh, once a month, I'm sorry.
No,
But still, like, you multiply that times amount of months, you know, in a school year, that's a considerable time. And I think that's also, to some extent, an equity piece.
Yep.
You know, those families who maybe have 2 parents working or single-family households have even less flexibility to provide that care for those kids and have to find solutions that may not include attending school. So I'd like to look at that.
So what's the reasons for the early release days?
Teacher professional development.
Is that something that has to be done during the school day?
Well, that's when they're getting
Well,
paid to be there.
Yeah,
So that's,
Just saying.
kind of,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
But another option, go ahead, Jody. What did you want to jump in and say?
Well, I just wanted to hear what Neil had to say, and then I actually have some information about why we do it that way financially.
I was just gonna ask if Rutland does something similar, or if they have just a totally
There
different
are,
practice.
from 7-12, as I understand it, and just don't misunderstand, I'm a teacher, I'm not an administrator, but it's my understanding that the high school has late start days on Wednesdays during the week, and then we have the middle school 7-8 has early release days on Tuesday, but I don't believe the primary K-6 has any disruption to their school days for those professional developments. But again, I'm not necessarily in the know, but that's my awareness.
So Rutland City actually has more full-day PD days than we do.
Okay.
So all of the curriculum directors in the area sat down together because we wanted to think about if we could align those better a couple years ago, especially to better serve like singletons, like OTs or SLPs, that it's really hard to design really meaningful professional development for. So when we are having those release days, we're doing things like having grade level teams meet together and go over the curriculum map or review common assessments and talk about where the curricular holes are. It's really meaningful work. If we're gonna impact families, we try really hard to make sure that it's going to better instruction and take that duty really seriously. But when we were talking as curriculum directors about how we could potentially do this better, Brian and I did look at whether we could better align Mill River's system to some of the bigger districts that do have more full day release. The problem with that is it is a significant financial increase because a half day counts as a student day. So if we were to go from the 9 half days we have a year to 3 full days, we have to add 3 days to every single person's contract that's on a 10-month contract. When we looked at it that way, we said, oh, bummer, we're going to keep it as it is for now.
My comment was not to question the good work that happens. I
Yeah,
just
no,
think
no,
there's
no,
the other side of that,
Yep.
which
Right.
is a burden for families.
So when budgets are getting built, is it something that should maybe be explored?
I mean, it's a big chunk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's possible, but I mean, is that
But
worth?
It's a lot of money.
I'd like to see if it affects attendance first.
Well, that's what I want to
I
find
mean, it
out
has an
first.
impact on attendance.
It does?
It does.
I would think it did, but I wasn't sure.
Like, it's not catastrophic, but it does have a negative impact on attendance.
Well, I will say this, that I had, as somebody who always worked a lot, and I had several children, if there was a partial day, not only did my younger kid not go to school, my older kid stayed home and babysat. But just because there was no option.
True confessions.
So, I mean, I know that's
Terrible
anecdotal,
parent.
but
No, but I do think that is
it's just
a
life.
concern that happens.
Doesn't the after-school program, well, it would be for the whole, but the after-school programs generally go till 5. Why do they only go till 3?
Because that's our professional development day also, from 3 to 5.
So that's why.
Those are our working hours. Not to speak out of turn, but I am a director, so we.
Okay, no,
That's good.
I'm glad you were here, because I didn't know.
You answered the question.
Because, those are our work hours and it
And
worked
to stay
out.
licensed, they have mandated hours they have to do.
Yeah, yeah.
A question I've had since before this topic even came up, how is the bridge care staffed? How?
Seat of
Paraprofessionals,
our pants.
paraprofessionals take turns.
Okay.
So sometimes
So they don't fall into the same,
these ones go because there's a training that they need or they should be at. So these stay back and do it, and then the next time they try to rotate them through.
there's some juggling.
Yeah, they do some juggling. Yeah.
People in our district sacrifice not being able to attend professional
Yes.
development to make sure we still have that bridge.
Yeah.
And that's something that we feel passionately to keep in place. In my children, my youngest child's district, there isn't that bridge care. And I feel that pinch significantly,
Yeah.
and so I've always worked hard with
Yeah.
my colleagues, who I'm so grateful for, to keep it in place.
No, I just want to put it out there that these are the things we'll be doing moving forward. I think even just simple things like, it sounds silly, but more parent communication of every day matters, right? Even a half day matters, because you're missing instructional hours that accumulate. And we want you here. So my feeling was, after talking to, once I speak to the principals, maybe they put something in their weekly newsletters, maybe once a month. I will be sending something, I have something drafted to remind families. And then also, I really need to and will review with all the principals, what is it that you do for attendance? What are you doing to improve it? And then we will meet as a whole leadership team and share strategies. And there is a lot of really good information out there. This is a national problem that we're seeing, and so we're in good company, and there's lots of strategies that are out there that we try, right? Like, I loved when I heard that Clarendon had that competition going between 5th and 6th grade. That's a simple thing, and if it improves attendance, that's great.
And there's excused absences and unexcused. So just to be clear, unexcused absences are the chronic side. But if it's excused, it doesn't count in that?
It does.
It does.
So chronic absenteeism looks at any absence.
Okay.
So although a parent can call and excuse their child, right, which is good because we know they're not truant.
Right.
It's still considered an absence. And even it accounts towards that 18 number, that 10%. Even if we suspend a child out of school, that counts towards chronic absenteeism. So there's a lot of stuff for us to look into that, right?
Do you think our busing in the last couple of years has impacted that also? Because personally working here, I know there are kids that sometimes when their route is canceled, it really like messes with their family, whatever, and they don't come to school. So I'm just wondering if our busing in the last couple of year issues, not pointing fingers at anybody, it's just, it's a fact.
Yeah, that's one reason why we're looking at busing so much.
Yeah.
because it affects-
I mean, that could be a big piece of our attendance.
It could very well
But it
be.
has been coming down. I mean, I'm hearing the
Right.
concern of busing going up and
Our numbers are going down,
Down.
right?
But it could be the causes are shifting. So maybe transportation is the cause now where it wasn't before, or we don't know. That's
it could be coming down further is what you're suggesting.
Right. There are some studies that show that parents now, since COVID, are more likely to pull their children out of school for a vacation than they would have been prior. And that children are missing more school. Even kids that are never going to hit the chronic absenteeism are taking more time than they would have in the past, right?
And I
So-
wonder if parents are more, like if a kid is
Slightly
sick,
Yeah.
they keep them home. And I think that's been encouraged, actually.
Yeah, right, we did.
As, I mean, it used to be, if they don't have a fever, send them to school. If they're on antibiotics for one day, send them
No,
to
that's a
school.
big change. When I was a kid, because my parents worked, if you were
Breathing,
if you were throwing up, you went to school.
And then you threw up at school.
yes, and the nurse.
I'm not saying that's right, it's just it is. a
Yeah,
change.
yeah, I do think since COVID, though,
Yeah,
people are
more aware
a lot more careful,
They're more
carefuler? More careful about spreading germs.
Are suspensions pretty few and far between?
I don't know our suspension rate off the top of my head. I do believe that they do happen. I will tell you that usually students who get suspended once are also the students who get suspended a second time and so forth, right? Because suspension doesn't necessarily change behavior. So it is something that we will look into. Do I think it's what's contributing to the chronic absenteeism? Probably not.
I think there was an effort statewide
To reduce suspensions.
Do we have in-school suspension?
except
I actually
for-
have our data with me.
Oh.
So we do have suspensions.
Yep.
We use those only in cases where we feel that an exclusion from the academic environment is necessary. We track it continually, always. All of our schools work on like explicit character education, pro-social, PBIS, and restorative practices first, always.
Yes.
Positive behavioral interventions and supports. Thank you. Yep. And we've had a major reduction, and I just want to say that I think at Mill River, we think a lot of this has to do with a really great behavioral interventionist that we have, and that's Shannon Barone, really doing really hard work. So 23 to 24, we had total log entries. That means anything from like anytime a kid had to leave the room, not suspensions. 1,108 over a year to 671. That's a 40% reduction. And total incidents, that's behaviors resulting in an investigation like an HHB or a suspension. 2007 and 23-24. Or 207 in 23-24, and 24-25 went down 105, so it's a 50% reduction.
Holy,
Yeah,
great.
crazy data. So we're working on it.
Yep.
And the whole school's had PD on restorative practices.
How long is the average suspension?
So we have a behavioral internal matrix, and it's depending on the severity of the behavior and when a student did something. So for example, the first time a student bullies and it's substantiated, we do restorative work and education. This is what bullying is, this is how it affects people, and they're not excluded. The second time, it would be a 1 to 2 day suspension. The third time, it would be a 2 to 4 day suspension, depending on the severity of the behavior. Then it goes to 5, then it goes to 10. That will come eventually to you guys, but we are so explicit with kids about that progress that we haven't done that in a decade. And then, you know, a vape is a day, and there are some kids that might get 5 of those a year. But that's a really small number.
I do just the suspensions, the principals?
Yes.
Yes, assistant principal and principal.
Any other questions for Cheryl about attendance or Jody about suspensions?
I'd just like to make a comment. I thought that was a great slideshow. I just thought it answered like a lot of questions.
Thank you.
I'd love to do it again at the end of the year,
Okay.
just to see, so we can count our chickens.
Yep, absolutely. And I do think it's important, I do, you know, I understand you wish to see some data. So I figured I would start with this because this is what is one of your goals, right? And I will tell you, at first I started doing it and I was by school and I recognized I can't do that. I can't even do it elementary wide. I had to be, because we do have more specific data and like principals can drill down and they know exactly who. So this is the type of data that I think we'd like to show you to moving forward, right? And do it again, and hopefully our numbers improve. I think if we work on it, they definitely will continue to improve.
Well, it seems to me that there's a real opportunity, that the payoff for improving those numbers is going to be high.
Absolutely.
Because having the kids in the seat at school, I mean, I'm not a professional educator, but it seems pretty clear that that's going to improve academic outcomes at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And sometimes students being absent, it snowballs because they're absent and they might miss some critical work, and then they come back and they don't know what they missed, and now they're behind, and then it creates anxiety, and it creates this cycle.
No, I can remember it well.
Yeah, so that we're working hard to change that for them.
Is there a strong correlation between attendance and whether people pass or fail? Are these chronic absentee people the ones that fail?
I did not look that up, but I would say 100%, yeah. I mean, there's always outliers, right? But yeah, if you're not there to get the instruction, you're not going to be doing the work and you're not going to be able to succeed. So yes. Unless Jody has data.
Strong correlation.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right, we're going to go into committee reports. So I noticed there's a couple of personnel items on the agenda.
Yeah, we haven't had any personnel meeting, but
Do you
there
want to
are some
present those
things.
for the board?
I'm
here?
sorry? I don't have my ears in.
What? Do you want to present them?
I can.
To the board for us? That'd be great. Thank
If you'd
you.
like me to do that.
I would.
First is, I would make a motion to offer Melody Hutting and a contract as nursing support staff, 1.0 full-time equivalency.
Is there a second?
Committee?
Ned? Seconded, okay.
Discussion.
Discussion, you want to talk about that for us? The nursing, just,
I don't know.
yeah, we don't.
No, there's nothing, yeah.
She's filling the position of the person who
Who
just resigned.
Correct.
So this is an existing,
Yes, this is an existing position,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
All those in favor? Okay. Next, have a resignation from Cade Kessup. Effective immediately, November 10th. He resigning their position as paraeducator. So I would make a motion to accept this resignation.
second.
Discussion.
Yeah, just a question. They, resigning immediately seems kind of drastic.
People do that.
Well, and the only thing I can say is that we will be in contact with this person as we have with others with an exit interview piece. So,
That's good, fair enough.
yeah, that's the best we can do.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Thank you very much.
That he actually gave a time also.
What should have happened if we
and next personnel meeting will be?
Next personnel meeting is December
8th, I think?
3rd.
Oh, no.
I thought it was third.
Third, because it's the same.
I think we've already put it out.
Yeah, it's right before the board meeting, right? So,
Yeah, it'll be at 6 o'clock the first Wednesday in December.
Yep, December 3rd.
There you go, December 3rd, as she says.
okay, policy. Kim,
Policy. We have a couple, we had a meeting on November 10th. We have a couple policies for first read. The first one we'll look at, and I'm realizing maybe I printed, now I'm confused. I have that it should be F29 and being renamed C19, but I'm seeing on the agenda, and I should have caught this before, sorry, I looked fast, is F2. Which one was sent out in our,
C19 and C21.
okay, that's actually what it should be.
Probably a typo.
Okay, it's probably just a typo, yeah. Is that okay that it's, we can still proceed? Okay. We don't need a motion, right, for first read, Carol? I forget how that, we
we do need a motion.
Thank you. So I ask for a motion or I make a motion?
You can make
Make
it.
a motion.
Make a motion for adopting C19. It was formerly F29, and for us, the student distribution of literature. Do I need a second? Yes. Okay. I saw gray. Discussion. I'll just say what we did is we had our own, the VSBA has a recommended policy, their C27, and we had a different policy. So we decided to take the language from C27. This is often what policy committee does, is we defer to VSBA's model policies. So we wanted to be congruent with their policy, and as part of our renaming process that is happening but slow, the new policy is not going to be an F anymore, it's going to be C19 because it's students related. Any questions about that? Did I miss anything, policy folks?
Good.
Are there any fundamental differences or just mostly language
That's a
and
good
clerical?
question.
They had, I think they had less verbiage than us, but to Kim's point, we defer mostly because with the assumption that theirs has been better vetted and the lawyers have looked through things.
And they put theirs out for distribution throughout the state. So it's not just us here at Mill River, it's statewide.
They were pretty similar though, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
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 Same intent for sure.
Well, and I can speak to the past. I mean, we've always tried to align with the Vermont School Board Association, just because that made sense, instead of us, as a school district, making up our own policy.
And the new numbering that we're doing is to reflect that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a piece of work on its own.
But it's gonna be really nice when it's done. So, all in favor?
Every remodeling.
2 more weeks. All in favor? Thank you. And then we have, and this is the one that was number funky, but you all got C21, District Equity Policy?
Yes.
Okay. So, this was another one for first read, so I'd like to make a motion to adopt C21, District Equity Policy.
And I'd like to second that one.
Discussion on this. Does someone else from policy want to talk about this one, or we had a good conversation, or I can tee it up?
I could take a minute or two on that. We had, this equity policy has been on the agenda for quite a while, and I won't go into the strategy behind that, but the SBA finally came up with their own policy, and it was very sparse, would be the word I would use to describe it. And even though it's generally our trend to try to take the VSBA recommended policies, that's not, and this was not a required policy on their part. It was a recommended policy, so we did have some wiggle room. I mean, I think we just looked at the two policies and frankly decided that ours was better. It's more strongly worded, more specific, and so in this case, we decided to carry on with the one that we had.
We did make a few edits. So like ours and VSBA are very similar for the top part, and where ours continues is that ours is a little more action oriented. And so we did make some changes in the previous one that we currently have. Expectations for the board required us to do like trainings. We no longer have that like explicit that we do trainings, but we have that the board will support district initiatives dedicated to addressing and remediating inequality in our communities. So we made some like small adjustments there, but we still wanted to kind of keep that like the administration, the board, that we're all like committed to doing this. Any questions or comments on that?
I think it's a great policy, actually.
We can't really take credit for it, but yeah.
Can I just ask a question? So the first bullet under board expectations talks about reviewing, considering the importance of equitable policy. And then the next bullet talks about inequality. Every other example is used in this document I noticed says the word equity. And then there is that one outlier of inequality.
Inequality, yeah.
So I wanted to make sure, I mean, I perceive the two to be obviously related, but different.
Yeah.
So I want to look at, just to be very careful or mindful or planful in what word we're using there, because we haven't really defined inequality in the policy context, but we've been very thorough about how we view equity in the policy context. So I would suggest maybe we reconsider that word. Maybe it's just a typo, but
yeah, that's a
I
good
think
catch.
it's
Even
just
when I was
something we have to
reading
be aware
it,
of.
I went to say inequity, and then I was like, oh, it says inequality, but I didn't.
Right.
So that's one that we just worked on. So the policy committee.
So again, I missed the meeting, so I'm partly to blame for this, but again, I just think we should look at that bullet a little bit, just make sure it's in line with the intent of the rest of the policy.
So can we say then, like, with changing it to inequity, can we accept that change, or do we have to read it? I'm asking, yeah.
I don't know why we couldn't.
No, I think so, because it's first read then,
Yeah.
and that's what you do, is you make changes, so.
Okay, so if we change inequality to inequity in that second bullet under expectations for the board, all in favor of?
That's a good catch.
Yeah, that's a good catch. Thank you, Dave. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Our next committee meeting is, it's gonna take me a second, sorry, December 8th, I believe, at 5:30, and anyone else on the committee can tell me. We changed to a Monday for that one. Oh, it's at 6?
Yeah, because there's something before
There's a
it.
finance, I think, yeah. So we're gonna be right after the finance committee at 6. Thank you, Lynn, for remembering that. And that's it for policy. Thanks.
Okay, building and grounds. Josh is not here. Do you?
It's gonna be very brief.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
can go. We haven't met since the last board meeting. The next scheduled meeting is
5 PM on the 24th, I think?
Thank you. I was gonna say, I think it's next week, but.
Okay. November, okay.
Yep, 5 PM on 24th of November.
24th.
24th of
At
November?
5 o'clock.
Sorry.
Right, 5
Yes.
o'clock. Okay, community engagement. Sarah, you've had a busy night.
Yeah, so we had a community conversations followed by community engagement this evening before the board meeting. We had lots of people here. Primarily, we discussed food service concerns, challenges. We had a representative from both the Tinmouth School and also the Elior, who is our food vendor. There's more questions brought up than there were answered, honestly. It's a very complex discussion, and bringing in third-party vendors to the school district is always hard, because they don't really answer to us once they've been contracted. So anyway, mostly it was useful. There'll be more discussions. We touched very briefly on the redistricting. People were interested in that, and that'll be a topic for future conversations because we had run out of time by then. Also, it changes all the time. We have not scheduled our next community engagement meeting at this time. Carol and I are going to decide when to do the next one. That's what's up.
Okay. All right, finance, Stephen?
Yeah. All right. I'll start with the payroll.
Excuse me.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Very
we
well.
can.
So payroll warrants. We've got one from November 7th in the amount of $668,322.40, and from November 14th in the amount of $8,211.40 for a total of $676,533.80. I'll make a motion to accept these payroll warrants. You have a second? All right. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. And our accounts payable warrants. General fund in the amount of $421,903.19. General fund in the amount of $18,560.98. Food service in the amount of $63,841.04, and after-school program in the amount of $877, for a total of $505,182.21. And student activities from Mill River with $1,496.89, and from Shrewsbury with $641.62, for a total there of $2,138.51. I'll make a motion to accept these accounts payable warrants.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. As far as finance committee reports and updates, I do have a newsletter I just got together yesterday or today that I'm going to send out to the board to all of you tomorrow or the next day. I hope you'll repost it on Front Porch Forum or your town's newsletters. But basically, kind of sum it up where we're at right now with Finance Committee is that we are going to be working on our sort of final draft of the budget and tweaking and revising that at our next Finance Committee meeting on December 8th at 5 p.m. as our next meeting. And where we are at this point is that we started with a little bit of positive news financially for us that gave us a feeling of a little bit of wiggle room. So we have those two things were that our health insurance, which had been signaled at a 13.7% increase, is looking more like a 7.3% increase. And the second piece of news was that we had an increase in our revenue from tuition students of $300,000+. So Stan and Cheryl brought us a streamlined rollover budget, which is kind of how we've been going into this budget scenario. So a rollover budget that has some cuts that the administration felt were, I guess, obvious kind of cuts. The grant positions, that the grant funding has ended, et cetera, things like that. That rollover budget looked like a 2.27% increase in the expenditure. And so the Finance Committee asked basically to see our kind of final draft budget. Did you lose me?
Yeah, you froze up for a second, so I think you gave us a percentage, but we didn't get it because you froze.
Okay.
If you could just repeat that.
The rollover light budget we got was a 2.27 increase, and we felt that there was space there to add many of the things we've been talking about in community conversations and needs that the administrators in the district have signaled as things that could help with various challenges that the district has. And those are coming from the staff meetings with principals and those sort of things. By my math, we're looking at that with, Stan just gave me a little bit more information today. We're going to be going into that December meeting looking at something like a 4.5% increase in our expenditure budget. Around December 1st, when we get our December 1st letter, we're going to get some more information that's going to help us understand what that means as far as district tax rates. So we'll get the tax projections, and this is the numbers, the tax projection numbers before CLA is applied town by town. We'll get some of that information, and we'll have that information at the December 8th meeting. We'll also have our weighted pupil average, our pupil numbers at that meeting as well. So things are moving along, and we have a couple more pieces to discuss, and maybe a little bit of refinement in that December 8th meeting. So folks are around December 8th at 5 p.m. It's another good one to go to, and I think our hope is that whatever we come out of that meeting with is what we will bring to the full board for approval for our fiscal year 27. That's my update.
Great, that's great. Thank you, Stephen. Any questions for Stephen about budget process? Ned?
Not a question, just a comment that I think the healthcare numbers are kind of one of those false sale wins that 7.3% increase still far outpaces general inflation and is the primary driver of our increasing school budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over which we have no control.
So it's just not as bad as it could have been.
Right.
But still very bad.
But still bad.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
Well, you can laugh or cry.
And Kim, did you have a?
Yeah, I think I just wasn't sure, so I heard two different numbers. There's a 2.27% increase in expenditure, and then you said 4.5%.
Yeah, so that's just what Stan and, we got a kind of rollover light scenario presented to us.
Oh, okay.
And we sort of opted for the add-ons.
Gotcha.
And I didn't go through what those are, but that includes the groundskeeper position, another bus driver position, ELL position, a new para so that Wallingford will have expanded service for pre-K after-school daycare, pre-K daycare, and that will raise that number by another 10 students because there's been a wait list, and I think five students have had to be turned away in the past on that one. So those details will be in the newsletter. But I just,
Okay, thanks.
those are the things, and I think on December 8th we might be talking about this. Stan might have some more close to their accurate math there, but if that 4.5% is something we're comfortable with, or do we want to tweak things further before it comes to the full board? I think that's what we're going to be talking about. Oh, the other important part, before I move on to the December 8th meeting, is we addressing buildings and grounds. We do have the maintenance position written in to this draft of the budget. But if we're talking about physical infrastructure projects, that's something we're going to discuss with our surplus management.
Okay.
So if we are putting in a well, for instance, that is something we're going to discuss with, what are we doing with the surplus that we have, and how much are we going to ask the voters to move from our surplus to buildings and grounds? It might be a little bit different than what we've done the last few years. That's my update. Thanks for the questions.
You're welcome, thank you. Other legal business, does anybody have? I just want to say that I went to Little Women, and it was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was spectacular.
Actually, I was so impressed.
You know, we have quite talented students that attend our schools both. And then I saw that Maddie Serapin was named the Rutland County Golfer of the Year. So we have some pretty amazing students that come up through our elementary schools and enter our high schools. So
I think I'd like to bring a bell to these meetings for acronyms. And it's throughout education. But just, especially when we have I'm wondering how much of the conversation was missed over here because an acronym went out there and the conversation was trying to determine what the acronym was, and the conversation gets missed.
Okay, well, so you can be our acronym.
Police?
Yeah.
I like the bell, that's a good idea.
The bell idea.
It's like a drinking game.
How about a squirt? Pavlovian. I'll start drooling, but that's just...
Oh, we live by those in education. Okay, agenda building.
Can I, sorry.
Oh, yes, please.
I'm always a little slow. Under other legal business, just to let folks know, I'll be sending out what we've used in the past for the superintendent evaluation, so you should be receiving that this week. I can't promise you a day, but it'll be out there this week. The other thing so you can take a look at that and see what we've done in the past.
I want your other thing, but can I piggyback on that?
Yeah.
At the next meeting, I guess this is agenda building, but it kind of fits in. I'm going to try and present the proposal for the ad hoc superintendent evaluation committee for the board. And then we have 3 members, 1, 2, and Josh, 3. And if we can get a member from policy and community engagement, or any committee, actually, anybody who wants to volunteer to be part of that, we'll have an ad hoc committee. We're going to get that set up next meeting, though. I didn't get my act together for this one.
To do it. I'm on both of those committees.
Okay.
The only other thing about redistricting,
Oh.
Can we let that sleeping dog lie for a bit?
It's changing too, so.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen, I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
Right, so why?
Well,
even-
they've come out and admitted what we could all see from the beginning, which was that they had an impossible task.
Yeah. I think where it's going to go is to voluntary, you know, like, it,
But my point is, it's not gonna go anywhere.
all right, so
So
we
why
won't.
devote effort to it? Yes.
Thank you very much. We got enough
hear
stuff
ya.
to do.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I hear you. But even if we say that to the public, we got enough, that it's not going anywhere. I think people need to hear that. Although it's in the papers, there's articles.
Yeah, it's on the news, it's in the paper, it's everywhere. And, you know, there's all kinds of finger pointing going around. They didn't do their job that they were assigned, blah, blah,
Oh,
blah.
it was, I watched that whole thing.
Yeah.
I finished knitting a
and-
sweater, and it was,
To Len's
Governor
point,
Scott is
I would
not happy.
assume that,
Everybody wants to have a picture.
Just too bad.
to Len's,
They do their
We, as a board, I think, need to say,
Enough
it's
of
not
it's not our
up to
business.
us anymore, it's somebody else's
Just
job.
carry on.
And to your point about public communication, I think people are paying a little more attention to the news and the newspaper than
Yeah,
to
yeah.
board meeting minutes.
okay. Gotcha.
Well, and I think
Myself included, I think.
the Community Engagement Committee has helped. And I truly mean that you've brought things to the public and invited the public in. And that helps. And when it finally comes down to, well, we don't really know what we should do,
Yeah.
that's it.
Right.
It's not our fault.
Nothing we
No.
can do
We
about it
didn't do
anyway.
anything wrong.
All right, so next, so agenda building. We have our board goal review that we should take a look at, and I'm looking at the schedule, and that was actually on this week, but we didn't get there. As part of board education, I'm going to review our goals. I already mentioned the superintendent ad hoc committee charge to review. Should I try, and I'm looking at, and we have F2 equity policy, so that's part of the,
We just did.
help me, Jody. You,
It's written, it's codified into the policy that there needs to be a yearly report on how we are moving ahead.
okay, so we have that scheduled
Okay.
we have like a big calendar that.
And that's
Brian-
generally just a, like, quick 5-minute.
Okay, all right.
Does Phil want to do his presentation remotely or join us?
Maybe you could check on that.
I was wondering the same thing, because we do have Mill River, but I would prefer, or I recommend that we have Phil do his presentation at the next meeting,
Okay,
unless he cannot for some reason, but I do.
so we'll just have school building report, and
he
you
can come to Mill River and
Yeah.
present it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll let Cheryl work on that. And anything else for the agenda next time
Do
that
we
anybody can think
need
of?
or want to go over any of the facilities, word?
I was thinking we could do that
Facility.
at Building and Grounds.
Okay.
The
Sure.
yeah, so we looked at, I don't know if anybody, I sent it to Building and Grounds, but
Oh. Speaking about something not everybody
the
knows about.
state did a facilities assessment in 2023 and listed all of the, things that they thought were 5-year, 10-year, and so we had mentioned it at the last Building and Grounds, that might be a good thing to use when we look at our surplus and how, in our Building and Grounds Committee, and set things up. So if anybody would like that, I can send it out to the whole board if you want to look at it. It's sort of interesting. We got some old buildings and new buildings.
One other possible agenda item for the next time would be, I don't know, 10 minutes or 15 minutes to just discuss what we're starting to think about in terms of food service. I mean, that's a big issue, and I mean, obviously, the debate comes down to, do we want to start thinking about a plan to move to our own food service setup, or as opposed to staying with Eleanor?
I'm going to try and contact Rosie Kruger from the state, because she is the one who recommended that we look at our own
In-house.
food manager, because there's a lot of paperwork involved.
So
And
maybe get some mentoring if that's gonna.
a food manager. So, and that the state is encouraging that, so I don't know if they're encouraging that with, dollar signs or just like an.
Okay, so that's already, that's going to be on the
So
agenda?
I got to check with her.
Okay.
And so as soon as I'll give her our dates, and if but like Stan said, we better do this by February. So I will I will email her and see if she can be at our next meeting. And I'm thinking that might be a lot, so I'll talk to Cheryl and we'll work it out.
Okay.
Could I ask a clarified question?
Yes.
I thought I'd heard when we first started talking about this that Timoth does their own food.
Timoth and Shrewsbury.
And Shrewsbury.
But the other schools
Do not, correct.
No, they have.
A third party.
highly intriguing to me.
It is
how that
highly
would come to
intriguing.
pass.
Highly intriguing to a lot of
And
people.
it seems potentially problematic, so perhaps that's something we could also talk about as well.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
mean, it just kind of came about that everyone used to have their own kitchen. And then, at least 10 years ago, maybe longer, there was a push to go with a food company because it was going to save the district some money. At that time, the communities and this was around the redistricting time.
Yes, it was when we consolidated, yeah.
Yeah, the communities of Shrewsbury and Teignmouth said that specific food and cooking practices were really important to their school's missions. And so it was worked out within that redistricting plan that they would retain their individual programs. And it continues to be kind of a pinch point between the two programs, but everyone makes it work just out of mutual respect.
Well, we're looking-
Anecdotally, Stan has told us that the food service management vendors would prefer not to serve the elementary schools.
I like the high school better.
I don't want to misquote you.
Obviously, there's more options.
Right, well, they have
More
more
opportunity.
profit potential there.
More opportunity to make money. Yeah, I mean, we're down to really not much choice for food service companies. Last 3 times we've gone out to bid, we've done the same companies, and they've all worked here. And, this last time we had 3 bids, all were former vendors, and the previous 2 vendors were both basically, kicked out of the district for, poor quality. So we really don't have much to choose from in regards to food service management companies. There is a new one that took the Rutland City job, but I don't know if it's too early to tell whether or not they would. I did talk with their regional manager last month. He came over to visit, and they inquired about their contract the last time. So I had asked them why they were not interested, and they said, well, we didn't have a presence in the Rutland County at the time, so we decided you guys were just too small for us to come in and make it work. Now that they're in Rutland, they would have interest, and obviously they've got things in place in Rutland, they'd be interested in bidding if we did go out next year, looking for another food service company instead of doing it in-house.
Right, so I think it'll be helpful to hear from the state, because it sounded like they were offering some sort of.
Ever since I've been here, which started in 2010, the state always pushes to run your own program.
So there's nothing.
Yeah, it's not, you don't save dollars, but you can run the program the way you want. You just have to invest the money.
And Stan, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is more expensive to do
It would,
it.
you're adding, you
Staff.
have to have a nutritionist on staff.
I just want to say, I know that there's a time thing, but also if we're okay with, we could do the work and look into this and give it.
For another
Yeah.
year.
For a year after.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah,
like a lot to try
It
to.
seems inconceivable that we could have a program in place for next year,
Yeah. Okay.
especially with the February deadline for renewing our
Do we
LE
want
war.
Rosie to come and talk to us?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
As soon as she can, and then we have more time to chew on it. Okay.
I was thinking
So to
that attendance in Tinmouth is so good because the
The
food
food's
is so
good.
It's all related, right?
There's a strategy, Dave. I like that.
All right, so we
Works
have
for me.
executive
gonna
session.
keep
We're
kids
gonna
away.
go into executive, we want to have an executive session, so I have to make a motion for an executive session because immature general knowledge would place the public body or persons involved at a significant, I got
Substantial.
substantial, I gotta put my glasses
Same
on.
word.
Disadvantage, okay? We're gonna, no, we're not discussing labor relations. Okay, so, second, all in favor? Okay, now we need a motion. Oh, I need to, need a motion to go into executive session and invite Cheryl.
I move that we go into executive session and invite the superintendent.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?